What is up, guys? Today I'm going to talk to you about college recruiting terminology and what things mean. So if you're interested in clarifying some of the terms that you hear around recruiting or some things that you may be hearing soon, then stick around and watch this video. Let's dive in. No matter where you are on your journey of recruiting, whether you are just starting, you're about to start, or you're already in the thick of things, there are some words that are going to come up that may be confusing. And when we're confused, we're out of our comfort zone. And when we're out of our comfort zone, we kind of shut down. That's why so many coaches say they want to help, or they truly do want to help, but they just get to a certain point in the recruiting process with you and they bail. It's not because they're awful people, it's because they have a fear of failing you. And there are so many things that you have to know, so many things you have to get straight, that they just kind of freeze. So this is one of the videos that is going to help you understand some college recruiting terminology. The first term that I'm going to introduce you to is recruiting age. I have heard so many coaches throw this out there, and the parents and athletes are looking very confused because they have no idea what the coach is talking about. So recruiting age is after June 15th of the sophomore year of high school. So the summer between your sophomore and junior year, it's after June 15th. That's the recruiting age. And that is like the magic key for when so many more doors can open, when so many more conversations can be had with coaches, so many more things can happen. So that is a huge one to know. So June 15th, after their sophomore year of high school. That is recruiting age. The second term I'm going to throw at you is recruiting conversations. So this is any conversation from the coach regarding scholarships, play times, any sort of offer that will benefit you if you go play at that school. So you heard me emphasize that right. It's from the coach. There can be talk or emails or any questions that you have sent from you to the coach, but they're not going to be able to answer it until you are of recruiting age. So that recruiting age is that June 15th after the sophomore year. So those are the recruiting conversations. And there are some times during the recruiting conversations that the coaches won't be able to reply, but that's in a whole nother video. The third term that I'm going to introduce you to is college coach communication. So the NCAA has approved means of communication for college coaches. So this includes phone calls, this includes one-on-one conversation, like if you are at a tournament or something where you're talking to them in person. It's emails, it's video calls, it's DMs, it's social media talk, it's comments. Those are all means of college coach communication. So anything that does not have anything to do with recruitment can be done before the recruiting age or outside of dead periods. But if it has something to do with recruiting, guess what? You have to be of that recruiting age. So if your ears perked up a little bit when I said dead periods, that's good, you're paying attention. So in my next video that's going to be coming out, I'm going to be talking about timelines of things that happen within college, which can be another crazy confusing thing. I'm going to lay out when dead periods are, just when examples of everything are, because if you send an email to a coach and you're expecting them to reply to you, but you send it during a dead period, they literally cannot reply to you. So don't let that get you discouraged. But in the next video, we'll dig deeper into that so that you can continue to learn more terminology. But for now, let's keep going. The fourth term I'm going to talk to you about is college camps and clinics. So this one may be a little odd because you're like, I clearly know what a college camp or clinic is, but there are rules within the college camp or clinic about coaches talking to athletes that are being recruited or wish to be recruited. So you guessed it, the recruiting age is a huge part of this. But the athlete that is going to a college camp or clinic before they are of that recruiting age, so say it's the summer between your freshman and sophomore year, there is no rules against you digging as deep as you can, asking as many questions as you can, getting to know the coach, getting to know the athletes. I mean, even digging into what are the coach's pet peeves on the court? What kind of highlight video does the coach like to watch? Which coach is watching the highlight video? This is an awesome opportunity, if you're not of that recruiting age, to just go in there and just dive in. I mean, if you dive in and you find out that you don't really like what you see, then you know not to go there, right? So this is a huge opportunity for you to dive in and understand that if you're not of that recruiting age, there's not really that much pressure. Now, the fifth term that we're going to go over is unofficial visits. So unofficial visits are paid for by the athlete or the athlete's parents or guardian. So these are visits that you schedule yourself, and if it is scheduled after August 1st of the athlete's junior year, then they can make contact with the coach or athletic department. And the athletic department or coach can give the athlete and their family 3 tickets to a home game, but that is all they can give you on an unofficial visit. If you are of the recruiting age and it's past August 1st, then you can have recruiting conversations with the coach. If you are not of that recruiting age and the unofficial visit is made before August 1st, even if you bump into the coach, say at their favorite on-campus restaurant that you social media stalked and found out about, you can't have recruiting conversations. So if you remember what recruiting conversations were, then you know that you can just chat to the coach. That's totally fine. It's just the recruiting conversations that cannot be had then. So if you want to go on an unofficial visit and, try to figure out a little bit of info about where the team and coach likes to eat, then maybe you can accidentally bump into them. Just don't have any recruiting conversation. The sixth term that I'm going to introduce you to is official visits. So official visits are paid for by the college or university. So these are the visits that are typically scheduled by the coach or athletic department, and they're the ones that are going to be showing you around. So on an official visit, the college can pay for transportation to and from the college. They can pay for lodging. They can pay for 3 meals a day for the athlete and parent or guardian. And as termed by the NCAA, they can pay for reasonable entertainment expenses, which is typically 3 tickets to a home game. So these are the things that can be paid for on an official visit. Also, if the official visit is made after August 1st of the junior year of high school, then recruiting conversations can be had. Typically, if a college is paying for an official visit, they're not going to schedule it before a recruiting conversation can be had. Unless you're just one of those crazy outliers that is just known all over the world. You are crazy good and people are just throwing at you money you like crazy, then you're probably not going to have an official visit before they can have a recruiting conversation with you. So anything that is made before August 1st that is an official visit, you cannot have recruiting conversations. The seventh term I'm going to introduce you to may seem simple, but it is defined and it's really a high standard in the NCAA. So it is contact. So contact is considered any form of conversation that is one-on-one conversation with an athlete or their parent or guardian that goes further than saying hello when they are off campus. So this is contact. So there are timelines that will be talked about in the next video that contact is restricted. So this is good for you to know. The eighth term that I'm going to talk to you about is evaluation. So evaluation is any time that the college coach, assistant coach, any of the coaching members are evaluating, so watching, looking at a player during practice or play. So this, again, is another term that we'll talk about within a timeline because there are certain timeline constraints that evaluation can happen. The ninth term that we are going to talk about is verbal commitment. So a verbal commitment is when a student athlete verbally says he will commit to play a sport at a school before the national letter of intent is signed. So one thing that's important to note is verbal commitments are non-binding. A lot of times people will think, oh, well, they've already verbally committed, so they aren't approachable anymore. But in actuality, verbal commitments are just kind of like a handshake, like, okay, yeah, cool, let's do this. Which, it's good to keep your promise, but it's not legally binding. So you have all the way up until the national letter of intent is signed to change your mind. Which brings us to the 10th term, national letter of intent. The national letter of intent is the actual written confirmation that you will be playing a sport at a college. It is a legal document that binds you to a contract to play a sport at that college. In the national letter of intent, it will also say the amount of scholarship you will be receiving that freshman year, and it also lays out different terms and policies that you as a student athlete are agreeing to. Division 3 is a little bit different because they don't have a national letter of intent, so their signing letter is called a celebratory form. So it's the same thing as national letter of intent, but because D3 schools have different scholarship options they lay out, which is also talked about in another video, they don't have a necessary national letter of intent like D1 and D2s do. So there are so many other terms that I could have gone over, but these seem to be the main ones that trip people up. But if there are more terms that you've heard or if you've had thrown at you that you're confused about, drop them in the comments below and I would love to help you. And as mentioned, if you're still wanting more info on recruiting timelines and when all of these terminologies can be put to use and when they can't be put to use, make sure you click on that bell so that when the next video pops up, you can watch and learn more about the college recruiting timelines. Also, if all of this was so overwhelming and just so mind-blowing and you're like, I still have so many questions, I have created a college resource guide. You can buy it on Amazon or you can follow the link in the description box below and it will take you to my Extra VB website. There you're going to enter in your name and email address and then you are going to get my college recruiting guide sent to you for free. I hope this video was so informational and helped clarify so many things about college terminology. I cannot wait to keep teaching you more. I'll see you next time, guys.